Okay, hi guys. So today we're gonna do quesabirria tacos, and here I'm just showing you the chilies that we're using today. So we're gonna take the chilies, put them in boiling water, and then turn them off and let them sit for about 20 minutes until they're nice and soft, and then we'll come back to those later. So here we have our chuck roast, and I just cut it up into smaller pieces and I seasoned them nice and good with some salt and pepper. Then I'm gonna put them in the pan. Cut up some onions, cut up some garlic, and I'm gonna brown the meat on all sides. Not cooking it all the way through, just getting a nice crust on it. Just want to get them all nice and pretty. The crust will add some nice flavor in the broth. So here we're gonna add some beef broth, and I'm gonna boil it because we're gonna use that when we puree our chilies. Once we're done browning the meat, we're gonna take the onion and put it in the same pan and get the onion cooked a little bit till it's translucent. And just make sure to turn your heat down at this point, because you don't want to get the onions crispy. You just want to get them a little soft before you put the meat back in and have everything bubble all together. It's just to add another layer of flavor. Then once we are done with that, well, while we let that cook, we're gonna go ahead and take these softened chilies, after I'm done playing with the onions, of course. Take the chilies and go ahead and put them in the blender. Make sure you drain out all the juice. The water that the chilies boil in kind of leave a bitter aftertaste whenever you cook with them. It's your preference. If you want to use that water, you are more than welcome to. I just don't. I usually drain them and I add the beef broth later. Well, while I puree them. So we're gonna add the chilies. We're gonna add also 1 chipotle pepper in the adobo sauce. I know this is not like the traditional way to make it, but I've seen a few recipes and I just kind of put some things together, and this is how I made it. And we're gonna take that extra bubbling beef broth and go ahead and pour some in there. I'm also gonna take a can of roasted tomatoes and put that in there too. Now we're going back to the pot before I turn the blender on, because the onions are where I want them to be. So I'm gonna add the meat back in there and the juice from the meat that was left on the plate. It's not a lot, but you know, that's some flavor that you're leaving behind. You don't want to throw away any flavor. Gotta put it all back in the pot so it can all come together and be delicious in the end. Come on now, get with the program. Okay, so now that that is in the pot, we're gonna go ahead and blend this up nice and good. Let it do its thing. And when it's done blending, this is how it looks. Nice and rich and red and beautiful. We're gonna take some bone broth, some beef bone broth, and pour it in there, not covering the meat all the way yet. I wanted to kind of see how everything looked once I added the chili puree, but later I did end up putting the rest of that box of beef bone broth. And the reason why I used the beef bone broth is because I know the traditional way to make it is with beef shanks, and I know that when I watch like authentic videos of like the Mexican way, the bone always has the most flavor, and I didn't have any meat with the bone. I just used chuck roast. So I figured that maybe if I use bone broth, it'll help bring that extra level of flavor. So here I'm just going to show you guys the seasonings that I used, because a whole clip of this video got taken out when I was actually showing you guys like the measurements and stuff. So yeah, those are the seasonings I used. I will link it. I will leave it in the description below how much of each I used. Okay, so this is after about 3 hours of it making. This is how it looks, and now we're just gonna take it out, and I want to show you guys how tender the meat is after 3 hours. And you could also put this in a crock pot and let it cook for like 6 hours, and it'll be just as tender. I was just doing it a little bit quicker because I started cooking a lot later. And chuck roast usually doesn't take that long to get tender. So now, since we're doing taco style, we're gonna go ahead and shred up the meat. Well, I guess you can shred up the meat either way. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and shred up the meat, get it nice and fine, and put it back in the pot. And yeah, we're getting ready to make our tacos and, you know, get it all nice and juicy for you. Here's the meat all shredded up. It look good. Put it back in the pot, you know, let it soak up those juices while I get everything ready for the tacos. So here, as you can see, there's like a layer of oil that comes when you make this. So what you want to do is you want to take that layer of oil off the top of the consommé, and you want to use that to fry your tacos. Now, talk about something good. This is something good. This is the next level of flavor, because corn tortillas, you need to add that flavor to them, and this is where you get the flavor, people. This is where you get the flavor. This part is crucial for the taco making process. Okay, so I don't render all of the oil just because I'm only making tacos for me and my husband, and this is a lot of food, so I just get as much as we need for tonight's serving purposes, which was about like 9 tacos I made. So here I did the first one as like a test run, because I always do too much when it comes to this part, but I think I'm finally getting it down packed. Here I would also recommend that you take some of that broth and you pour it over the top as you're frying them. I don't know why I didn't do it. I was kind of distracted because we were on the phone with my mother-in-law. So yeah, you see I dipped the taco in the oil, add the mozzarella, kind of fold them over. It's a little difficult. I use 2 tools. They're kind of stuffed. But yeah, if you add the broth with it, it just makes it that much more ooey and gooey, and the cheese all melty and stuff. It's amazing. So yeah, I do recommend that you pour some broth over it. Don't overdo it, because corn tortillas do break easily, which is why I probably skipped that step, because like I said, I'd be doing too much. Here's the tacos all done, and there goes the consommé and everything. Then you take your fresh cilantro and your onion and you put it inside. I didn't feel like cutting up onion, but you know I got my cilantro. And that's it, y'all.